Boy Vipers here. Okay, cool. Hello guys, your boy Vipers here. Today we're gonna do another episode of The Gamer Takes. As I was not gonna do one this weekend, but I said why not. Today's topic is not gonna be Modern Warfare based, but it will kind of talk about the social media of Modern Warfare as it's been popularized this weekend. As tonight's topic, we're gonna be talking about the social media aspect in big time sponsorships for gamers. Social media has been growing in the last 5 to 10 years, ever since the release of Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, any social media you guys know. And the gaming population has been taking big advantage of that, which has kind of got some good careers going for a lot of people. And we're going to talk about that. And today's guest is someone who is a gaming personality, not ninja-like, but kind of hopefully going to be heading on the rise of that, as we'll let our guest introduce himself. You can go introduce your name. And I found you because of Instagram. I was like searching for people from Instagram and to see who was a social media personality. I found your name on like some Black Ops 4 clips, and you know, actually I found you off Twitch. I saw you stream Black Ops 4 and you know, I said, oh wow, this guy's has 21 viewers and he plays on Xbox. So I found your social media. So we're gonna kind of start with the opening type of question. How did you become such a somewhat known gaming personality? Well, game personality on Instagram and Twitch so far. Since I noticed you had 26,000 followers on Instagram, which is impressive for an Xbox gamer.
Team requesting flyover. I have to reload. Enemy reload. The enemy has the lead.
Do you have like anything set different? Like just say from a different, do something different that a normal kind of, just say someone with your same size. What do you kind of set unique for yourself in regards to?
We're on Alpha, stand by. Enemy UAV overhead. Bravo secure. Enemies taking Echo. Charlie, stand by. Enemy has Echo. Enemy movement. Allied UAV overhead. Enemy UAV overhead. Got Charlie. Enemy is Delta, go! Allied IAV. Allied precision airstrike. Enemy has Delta.
Hopefully that. So what is your kind of goal for like the next, like just say the next 6 months or like the rest of the year, in regards to like what you want to grow as a personality, game personality?
Enemy UAV overhead. Allied UAV overhead. Enemy personal radar overhead. Allied IAV dropping in.
hopefully that kind of their bond really grows as kind of the future tells. But so we're gonna kind of get into the main topic, which is the social media aspect for gamers and the big sponsor for gamers, gaming. As we kind of talked about in the intro. The first question I have for you is, what do you stereotypically think of the people in the gaming community that use Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, or any kind of social media in the gaming sense? The gaming population. Everything regarding gaming. Just the gaming community on Twitter. Oh, actually, sorry. Let me reword the question. I meant the people that use it. Sorry, I was a different. Bro. Oh, yeah.
Securing Echo. Enemy care package inbound. Enemy personal radar overhead. Securing Bravo. We've got Echo. We've got Bravo. Enemy UAV overhead. Need backup at Delta.
Yeah, I think that's kind of right. It's just you have to grow that personality, like, through whatever means possible. You know, Twitter clips do help because, you know, it's, you know, people do like videos, the attention span. You know, they don't want to see just like screenshots and all that. They want to see something entertaining that's different, something cool, funny. That's the best. You know, in the gaming world, that's what you need because you have to be set different in some of a sense, but you know, you can get lucky by having an opportunity for that. If you know you're good at the game, well, you're good at the game. You know, you do something funny. You have to promote your own brand instead of just you're right. You can't say you're live on Twitter because you know people don't know what you're expecting from it. Unless if you say you're live on Twitch, no one knows what you're live for. Plus, you need to really, you have to grow quick. Like it's gonna be a slow process. That's the problem with it. But you know, if you keep working, you know, you keep wanting to set a standard. You know, you want to be well known. You got to be active as possible. So that's where we gotta go with that. Next question I have for you is, do you think the general public still criticizes gaming because of the news articles that are being presented to them always talking about the negative side of gaming instead of the greatness behind it? Or is there another factor that causes it? I'll repeat the question if it was a little bit too fast. So It's hard for the public because not everybody. I think everybody games. I'm not expect. I think that's the way it is because they can't relate to it. Like, especially with the shootings. Like, was it 2 years ago? You had the one in 2 or 3 years ago, the one in Jacksonville, where it was the Madden football game. Yeah, that's the one instance. That's just it was a horrible instance that happened. It was a game that wasn't even shooting. That was the impressive part about that. It was just him being depressed, having anger, and all that. That was well, again, yeah, there's a lot of effects on the game and with your health and all that, which probably made him do that. But it's not. You should not really fully blow out proportion. That's just one instance. What can you relate from other shooters? They just played a video game. Well, again, there's other cases about that, but that was only one at like a gaming tournament. Other ones have just been out of, wherever it is, and that's, it's they turn their mind to gaming. Maybe gaming is a stress reliever for a lot of people, but some people just thought about it and just says, oh, they want to take it as an advantage. It's whatever, but anyone can shoot a gun, anyone can kill anyone. You can't fully blame gaming on everything that's happening around the world that in harm. So that's where the issue kind of relies on. How could you kind of set that standard to not make gaming as harmful as possible? But I don't know how we're gonna see that in the future. So next question I have for you is, what game slash I'm gonna actually alter this a little bit from what I had written down. What game slash time period, like what year, do you think helped start and make the big boom in the social media world in regards to gaming? It can be game or a year.
You're needed at sea.
Yeah.
Securing Delta. Assist your team at Bravo. Lost Bravo. Delta secure. UAV is ready for flyover. Falcon 3-0. Good copy. UAV. Enemy UAV overhead. Allied UAV overhead. Allied IAV dropping in. Enemy personal radar overhead. UAV is out of view. Fly. Enemy first strike. Take cover. Dropping back. DZ mark. Allied UAV overhead. Got a VTOL on station, ready to deploy. Enemy UAV overhead. Allied UAV overhead. We're holding Bravo. This is our fight. Stay focused. Heavy damage sustained. Clear them out.
Actually, yeah, I think those games kind of helped him, get some light onto it. But actually, let me rephrase that one more time. What game do you think got the big recognition to? Oh my God, we can't. Oh, that was the end of the game. Wow. Kind of got recognized heavily by the public that they started, like it got featured all over the world, like as a popularity. Do you think it's Fortnite or another game before that? And I was shocked that I would say maybe uh, I'm gonna go with Fortnite. I think because social media did not exist back, like it was not too prominent back in like the early 2000s, late 2000s. Instagram wasn't even out that time. So I think that kind of makes the most sense. So next question I have for you is, do we expect in the future that these gaming superstars besides Ninja will become the kings slash queens, because you know there could be a female game personality, um, of popularity among the public, and what personality could we see blow up next to be like the next Ninja? And what I kind of mean by popularity is like getting featured on TV shows, you know, being recognized, getting talked about constantly in the news, being like a known, really known big top-notch celebrity that could be more popular than Tom Cruise or some celebrity like that. Yeah, yeah.
Capture objectives and kill your enemies. Securing A. We're holding Alpha. We're taking Bravo. Check fire! Hostiles at Delta, go! Assist your team at A. We've got Bravo. We've lost Delta. Hostiles are taking Charlie. Assist your team at A. Assist your team at C. We've lost Charlie. Enemy personal radar in the air.
What do you think is gonna be the next like Ninja?
We've lost Alpha. Enemy personal radar in the air. Assist your team at B. Securing Charlie. Securing Alpha. We're on Delta. Stand by. Losing B. Lost Delta. Contact! Enemy personal radar in the air. Hostiles at Bravo. We've got a UAV on station. Ready for enemy cruise missile incoming. We're taking Echo. Enemy personal radar in the air.
That's the great thing about it, is just especially with the Fortnite release. I think that kind of rung like the celebrity growth, because I don't think too many other games in the past kind of brung that. Wow, he's well known to everybody in the world. Like, that's impressive. But in regards to celebrity, I'm gonna go with Dr. Disrespect. And because of how, like, he's, to be honest, I was not a big fan of him like a couple years ago, and I was just like, but now I just kind of like him because, you know, I got used to him, and I feel like he's, especially with recently Ninja and Shroud and a lot of these people moving to Mixer. Twitch is still the dominant platform. I don't think Twitch has already developed a well-keening to people, and people don't want to switch to Mixer and all that. Whatever they, since Mixer's more Xbox based, so I think he's the next one to kind of have a chance of it. I know it's gonna be odd when he shows up to every event in that suit, that outfit he wears, but you know, that's what makes him unique. He has that, I don't know, he has the motive to win. Yeah, like he's dedicated to dominating everything, so they like someone who has that energy to say. I think that's the big difference for him. Damn, I could have got a veto. So next question for you is, what do you expect for the future in regards to streamers and sponsorships? And what I kind of mean by that is, like, I don't know. We're gonna go Ninja example again. Ninja just got a sponsorship by Adidas, all that. This is, I don't know, this might be an interesting question to ask, but what do you kind of think? Could you see them get big time 500K sponsorships from companies besides gaming, like non-gaming based brands? If it makes, I don't know, it's an interesting question.
Securing B. Hostiles at Alpha, go. Enemy are in the air. Hostiles are taking Delta. Enemy precision airstrike. Take cover. Securing Charlie. We've lost Delta. Allied cluster strike inbound. Charlie secure. We've lost Alpha. Enemy care package inbound. Friendly UAV overhead.
Especially for streamers, like, I think especially for streamers, it's kind of hard to, like, Ninja, it's the one opportunity where you actually get sponsored like Adidas and all that, but you know, they kind of, it's hard to get like a sports brand or like any other brand, just like as an individual, they have to do as a team. So that's kind of the hard part with it, I think, especially for gamers and all that. So hopefully we do see some bigger sponsorships in the future, but I don't think we're gonna, oh my gosh, we're gonna expect it from just a individual streamer. And this one's kind of actually relates to your topic. For next question, are you shocked that players slash esports stations are getting out of this world sponsorships? I'll give you some examples. FaZe Clan, Optic, they have a Nissan sponsorship. Team Liquid, they got a Honda one. Cloud9, they have BMW and also Count Logic Gaming, they have FedEx. TSM, they have Chipotle as one of their sponsors, and Ninja as Adidas. Like, are you shocked by that? Like, having it, like, would you kind of, like, you shocked these teams are having these big sponsorships, especially in 2019? And actually, kind of, I think it's just because it's a funding purpose. Esports has been one of those growing businesses, and it's a lot of these companies have so much money, so you said, okay, let's take a risk on it. Let's see if we can have this much in funding. It's a big it's a big risk but high reward situation. It's like these sponsorships, they have to pay them like millions of bucks to help the team get the funding. It does help in the long run because it's a growing business. And want to maybe don't want to spend their money on that because it could bankrupt them. Well, I think not for companies like Adidas or FedEx would bankrupt them, but like that could have been a concern for them because it's something that could just like not see in the long run. But as gaming has been growing and esports has been growing, we've seen that actually play a big effect, and they've been interested in it. So I think we'll see it grow. And kind of relating to that, what company for esports team that next that hasn't sponsored and like any brand you want will actually sponsor a team or a partner? I don't know. Walmart could be interesting because they do sell their products in stores. They do sell gaming products in stores, so it does make reasonable sense. But I think Amazon's one of the shocking ones I haven't seen yet. I feel like that how big it is. It's heavily based on social, online. I was shocked we haven't seen that happen yet, and maybe we'll see it happen in the future. We don't. Maybe we don't. We don't know what we expect, but hopefully we do see some Amazon-like sponsorships. Especially how much money they've been making. It's one of the richest companies, or probably one of the most richest companies in the world, because just online stuff has been happening. They could really help a team out if they need it. Especially they have billions and billions and billions of dollars, so it shouldn't be a concern if they even have to spend that much on something. So, um, this is also going to relate to it. Speaking of big time sponsorships, do you think that it's interesting that they're giving these big time sponsorships fully to organizations that have personalities that make in the first place? Sorry, a lot of these questions are kind of related, but you can try to answer them. Yeah, I know. If you don't have to answer it, I did just look the question. You kind of answered already. But if like anything else to add on to it, that would kind of be nice. Um, so yeah, that's I don't know. I thought it was like I kind of repeat the question because I didn't kind of relate to like the last four questions sponsorships, but I think that should be it with the sponsorships parts of it, the show. Next question I have for you is: do you think the gaming community is harmed in some way due to all the Twitter beef happening around them, or like you could distract people from gaming overall because of all the harmful stuff about like online said about like almost I'm sorry, harmful stuff said about it on Twitter or something like that, or like the game community being drama like.
Hostiles are taking Echo. Bravo secure. Enemy personal radar in the air. Friendly UAV overhead. Hostiles are taking Delta. Hostiles have Echo. Take cover. Personal radar in the air. Lost Delta. Enemies in the area. Enemy precision airstrike. Take cover. Enemy personal radar in the air. Securing Charlie.
There's a lot of harm to it. What community, like, in your regards, what social media platform do you think is kind of the most harmful? Like, just kind of with the toxicity, is it Twitter? Is it still Twitter?
UAV overhead.
Or
Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy precision airstrike inbound. That's it. We've lost the objective. I expect better.
yeah, you gotta be right in that. I think. Hope I think with the again Twitter, you have freedom to say what you want. Reddit, I won't consider social media, but you know there's a lot of kind of drama. Discord, um, there's a lot of drama in it. So hopefully, I don't think we're ever gonna see a decrease in that. I think that's gonna be a sucky part about it. But I think overall, it's still gonna be an issue. I think it's gonna be more of a growing pain, especially with how opinionated people are on this planet. So it's gonna suck that happens, but we're expecting it, especially with the growth of social media, and especially how gaming community, you know, is again. It's not like it's not like you're revealing your face to the gaming community. You can say it online too. Like I can trash talk this Wookiee 5000 kid, and you know he's not gonna find unless he's that curious, he's not gonna find me. Like he's just thinking, oh, he's just gonna do that, but he's not gonna care. Like it's just he's gonna expect it. It's not revealing your whole individual, like yourself. So that's the thing with the game community is just you can just kind of slide like just slide for it, just let it through. But if you do it in a different topic, there's gonna be a lot more personal, harmful response, and it just shows your actual true emotion and with life. And I need to invite you back. Um, with life overall instead of just keeping it silent. If that makes any sense. Um, just kind of go back to esports and all that. As franchise leagues get into the mix, League of video games, League of Legends, Call of Duty, and Overwatch. In regards to gaming slash esports trends being more popular than sports, politics, any sort of trends on like any social media, like people will be more hyped about esports events and will be more active on social media than you know stuff that do today, like If
Round one. Capture objectives and kill your... We captured Echo. We have control. Crush them. Assist your... Securing Delta. We lost Bravo. Securing Charlie. Soldat, you have lost the lead. Delta secure. We have control. Crush them. Contact. We have taken control. Assist your team at Charlie. We lost Charlie. The lead is ours. Keep pushing. Enemy movement. Allied UAV overhead.
I well, kind of, especially with franchising coming in the mix. I think esports it's going to be heavily pros and gamers, but I think with the overall public, this is going to be a kind of a big grasp. Like especially when Overwatch came out, there's a lot of fans who were not even fully time gamers started supporting the teams because it was city based. League of Legends, that might be a different story because it was all organizations. So it was you just support your organization or not. But well, actually maybe in that same regards it could be the same thing, but like as esports keeps going and growing, you're gonna see a lot more people recognizing it, and that's hopefully what's gonna happen. Which I think it should, because especially it's growing business. And the public is gonna really recognize it fully. But how much time, but the time it would take to get that really sorted out and being well known, we don't know how long that's gonna take. That's the scary part. Like I don't think we're ever gonna, you know, I wish we can see it be that popular as regular sports or politics and all that, but we don't know the future of it because it's not consistent. Well, it's consistently growing, but you know, there's a lack. I don't know how you want to say this. It's just not fully developed yet, so it's harder to expect what is going to happen with social media trends on gaming than other topics because it's not been developed for hundreds or 50 to 100 years like the politic or sports topics like trends. So if we give it a couple, like just say 1 to 2 more years, it should be enough. But will we see it in 2019? We don't know, but it could happen. So next question I have for you is, do you think content creators like sorry, as a former as for former gamers, especially in regards to Call of Duty, is there a concern that too many of them are chasing too much cloud stuff, staying on their first true passion, which is gaming? Or like, actually, let's change that up a little bit. Do you think they're not being themselves, instead they're, well, actually, they're not, like, they're just doing too much for video stuff, like trying to be creative and own mix instead of being their selves when presenting content on YouTube or Twitch or something like that? Especially YouTube.
Allied UAV overhead.
It's everything's opinion on the show.
Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy personal radar overhead. Allied IAV dropping in. Precision airstrike. Get down. Enemy UAV overhead. Allied UAV overhead. Enemy care package inbound.
And we're actually going to regards to like you worry, like especially with views and YouTube and social media being a thing. You know, everything you do in social media. You know, you want to be solely different from everybody else, even if it's too extreme. Do you think it's? Do you try to like overall? Do you try to like be like? Are you chasing views? Are you chasing that clout, like that popularity, or call terms in here? Do you is that a case for you, or do you and like do you worry about that a lot, which is fine because it's again it's a business, so you you know money is important, and so did you ever get to that case where you it actually tried to do that, like you worried about it too much that you did?
Have reached the halfway point. Get moving. Right. Take cover. Enemies taking Delta. Allied UAV overhead. Allied precision airstrike in. Securing Alpha. Enemy has Delta. Enemy personal radar overhead. Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy cruise missile with you. Overhead. Alpha secure. Enemy UAV overhead. Allied airstrike incoming. Beware. Enemy care. Allied IAV dropping in. Contact. Enemy personal radar overhead. Enemy has echo.
Yeah.
Allied UAV overhead. Enemy UAV overhead. Allied beware. Allied UAV overhead. You're needed at Alpha.
So you
Overhead.
try to just not worry about that view count or the money you make. Like, well, I think yeah, people worry about that, but you
Allied UAV overhead. Enemy support kilo in the air.
it's not yourself. It's
Allied enemy cluster strike. Take cover.
in my opinion, like just me growing the series, I don't care, I just, I wish I do have the views, I wish I had that high amount, 100K per video thing, you know, or just a lot of views, I wish I had that, but I'm not gonna worry about it, if it grows, it grows. I'm still gonna continue doing my thing, even if it's a slow process. I'm not gonna change anything. I'm not gonna do something different. Like I wanna focus on it. It's like I could, like for this show, I could probably actually try to get bigger people. Which for this conversation, I did it because I needed someone for social media personality. But I didn't like for every other episode. I try to get like as small as possible. It's like not too big. Because I want to express community. I don't want to focus on the people who are not fully dedicated towards it. Like, so that's where I want to focus on. I want to focus on the community as a whole, not worry about if I get, which, in some cases I do think about it, I do want to get yes. And, that's the hard thing about it. Because you want to think about the views. And, the biggest person possible, that's what you want. But, and then, it's still gonna be a hard process. I don't think having one famous person on here is gonna make a difference, but you need to do it as a consistent base. You need to grow that brand, and which a lot of people have done, but some people just worry about it too much, where it just kind of taken over them and focus on YouTube as a thing. Like, I have to do this for YouTube. I have to do this YouTube. If I don't get this, it's just all troublesome in the long run instead of like worrying, doing your normal stuff and all that. So that's the hard part about it, but hopefully it does not, like, we're gonna stop this, like, trying to worry about views and just act normal. Like, don't worry about it too much, it's gonna come as time comes on, but as you get popular, it's hard to do that. So hopefully it stops, but I'm gonna be honest, it's not gonna stop, especially with all the personalities in the population. They're gonna do whatever is best for them, even if it's something that they wouldn't like doing personally because they're worried about the. Next question I have for you is: do you think content also this is also related to content creators? Um, do you think content creators kind of hurt the game community as a whole because of the lack of dedication they have towards video games? And to give you some examples, the Mob, this is 100 Thieves, like kind of brand. Um, Phase House, the Sidemen. I think that's KSI's kind of team. I don't know if that's KSI or not. But like content creators who start as gaming, stop focusing on it. Being it kind of hurts it because it stops the game like they want to follow whatever the regular gaming population's doing. Yeah, but it kind of just sucks because, especially for the future, like gaming was so populated back in 2012, 2013, 2014. Like the good times of gaming kind of started the 2010s era, and now it's kind of switched up where a lot of people don't game anymore. A speculation because after Black Ops 2 release, it hasn't been really the same, and it's hard to hear about that. So that's kind of why they switched it up, and just it's you know if they're chasing views, which I don't repeat that like 20 times, but it's gonna happen. You know, it makes sense to like them and you know maybe me in an example, but you know it just doesn't. I don't know. I just don't like it, but you know it has to happen because you don't know a lot of these people made a lot. They're living off YouTube, and you know if just people don't want to watch Call of Duty or a game that you know don't want to watch gaming overall because they well again gaming's been growing, especially with the Call of Duty Whereas we just go with phase, for example. A lot of the trick shots and snipers, they kind of focus on real life, like Rug, Adapt, um, you know, Banks. Like they stopped gaming. Like they didn't really worry about gaming anymore. They kind of just worried about like just kind of as growing as an like individual person or like a game personality. So that's where the issue. That's kind of why it happened. Like because of the gaming, like just especially for the Call of Duty community, because of the release of some games not having the same popularity, like just not being great and it just causes deterioration towards it. But I just don't like kind of just not sticking to what you were passionate to start and just sticking to it. Like I would, again, even if I was getting popular, you know, if I even had a life, I would just focus on gaming still because that's something I've been passionate for a lot of years now, unless it's something in my confidential way feels like isn't making me happy anymore, like making me happy. I'm not going to worry about the cloud because gaming has been popular. It's popular, it's still going to be growing. I'm not going to worry about that, but it's just something that if I was going to ever switch away from gaming, it will kind of have to be something that affects my life. And with these content creators, they haven't really had something like gaming hasn't ruined their life. So why are they gonna? Why? There's no point of switching off it. And I didn't kind of like that, but you know, it's happened. Deal with it. So, um, actually, I'm gonna add another question here. So since Twitch and Mixer has been one of the growing businesses, growing like been growing streaming, what do you kind of like expect for the trends? Like, do you think Twitch will be able to take over YouTube, like in regards to gaming content? I don't know. It's a random question I came up with, but be interesting to ask.
Hostiles in the area.
Allied cruise missile on the way. Enemy UAV online.
Sending Claymore.
Allied cruise missile on the way.
Sending Claymore.
Need backup at Charlie. Friendly UAV on station.
Could we actually see Mixer take over Twitch? Like, sorry, well, being in popularity.
Oh shit!
Enemy UAV online. We lost Charlie.
Changing mags.
Friendly UAV on station. We're taking enemy is taking Alpha. Standing by. We're on Echo. Stand by. Enemy UAV online. Captured Echo. Got them. Friendly care package inbound.
Actual requesting flyover.
UAV entering the AO.
We're taking Charlie. Enemy UAV online. Enemy precision airstrike inbound.
Be advised, UAV is bingo fuel. RTB for resupply.
Charlie secure.
Yeah, I think. Again, I don't. Not. I don't. If I was gonna make that contract deal, I wouldn't really care. You know, I think subscribers on Twitch is nice, but again, you have to pay for it, and it doesn't. You don't know. It's a shady. It's not really a shady system, but you know, it's not. You have to pay $5, and you just that's the only way you gotta get it.
Friendly sentry gun
If you have that $5 subscriber every month, which does only support the streamer, but it doesn't support anyone else. So, yeah, I never kind of really thought about that. That's gonna be that's a big factor overall. But I don't know. It's just we're gonna see how the next couple years go. But I think we'll see a big growth on that. Hopefully. So the last question I got for you is, in the next couple years, what do you expect the social media aspect and sponsorships for gamers to be like in the next couple of years? In like, well, actually, this kind of said to next in the next couple of years. What do you kind of expect social media aspect and big time like sponsorships for gamers to be like for the community? If the question makes any sense. Just we'll talk about social media first, then you go to sponsorships. Let's separate that.
We're halfway there. Keep fighting. We lost Echo. Enemy gunship inbound. You've lost the lead, soldier. Securing Echo. Lost B. We're losing ground. Step it up. Enemy UAV online. We're on Bravo. Stand by. Got Bravo. Friendly wheels. Enemy chopper gunner inbound.
Hostiles in the area.
Enemy cluster strike incoming. Grenaded at sea. Friendly IFV dropping in.
Could this next couple years could be like concern for I actually now like just currently and in the future could there be concerns for the social like for gamers on social media, like that it could turn into like just an issue or a controversy.
Enemy UAV online. Enemy precision airstrike. Friendly IAV dropping in. Securing it. Enemy gunship. Enemy UAV online.
Oh, I think yeah, that has to be right. I just don't like make sure you just don't cause the community to turn each other, that gaming doesn't turn fun anymore, or really opinionated that it's turning problems for the community. I think that's the thing you have to expect from it. Like, people being so emotional, opinionated on social media, it could really deter the game population, especially when if it's a company that tends to criticize, like, people who want to purchase a game and criticizing, and that toxic game community, like, just online and through social media, could kind of deter people because they don't like that. They want to have like that chill population. But I don't think it's going to deter it. I don't think we're going to see any kind of concerns with it, because it's something that doesn't. It could be a concern if there was any sort of, again, we mentioned early in the show, just like shootings that kind of happen to gamers. But if it's not a common instance, it shouldn't be a concern. But if it turns into, it happens, like, it happens in these big shootings, like the all gamers, it could cause the game population to decrease, and also stop the opinionated, like, a lot more criticism on opinions for gaming on Twitter and other social medias. But also, let me add another question here, since I noticed you're popular on Instagram, and we never kind of talked about this. Do you think the do you think like posting your stuff on Instagram and all that, do you think it's gonna be the best help? Like, it help for you because you post gaming clips, but I don't want to say this. Do you think that just kind of helps the personalities grow? Even if people don't recognize it, like, what do you kind of think of the impact on for social media, like for gamers on Instagram, like on the social media impact? And do you think it's underrated?
Enemy cluster strike. Find cover. Friendly care package in. Enemy at Charlie. Go. Enemy cluster strike incoming. Enemy at Delta. Go. Be advised. Friendly UAV on station. Lost Charlie. Enemy has Delta. We're taking Bravo. Enemy UAV online. Captured Bravo. We're taking Charlie. Securing Delta. Friendly UAV on station. Down but not out. Let's go. We're capturing Alpha. We're holding Charlie. Need backup at Bravo. Not Alpha. Enemies taking Bravo.
I think also with Instagram, there's just less opinions on it. Like, like people who are gonna criticize and all that. I think that's where you got the big grabbing point that people haven't really recognized. I think, yeah, people do like having those opinions brought out, and to be honest, Twitter, yeah, you do have the opinions, it's raw emotion, but with Instagram, it's a totally different story. Because like, the people are a lot more chiller. Are we actually gonna get first DEF CON? So the population is a lot more chiller. Like they're less gonna be harmful to everybody and all that. And that's the crazy part about it. So, and also, like, I think that's gonna be the, like, people haven't recognized. Like, if you don't want to deal with a toxic thing, it's not gonna show up on your notifications. Well, maybe it does if you have show up your notification, but it's less likely to happen. And also, it's a bigger response. Like, than remembering a Twitter username, because people are more likely to like than retweet or like that tweet of that gaming clip and follow you on Twitter. It's harder to grow on Twitter than Instagram. So Instagram, again, people like seeing the visual effects than having seen the typed effects. So that's where your big ground point is. And that's gonna kind of be it with the topic of the social media aspect for gamers and also the sponsorships for gamers slash organizations. The last question, the closing topic question we're gonna have. This one's gonna be maybe decently long. What do you think of Call of Duty Modern Warfare so far? And we're going to talk about multiple topics about that. So let's kind of start with review. Actually, sorry. You played the camp. Did you play the campaign? Never mind. Okay, we're not gonna ask campaign questions. Um, what do you think? What are the strengths, like, kind of the strengths so far? Like, what do you like about the game so far, as you played for 3 days probably, since 3 or 4?
Capture objective. Your enemies. Securing Echo. Echo secure. We are in command here. We're taking Delta. You're needed at B. Delta secure. Enemy has Bravo. Grenade out. Securing Alpha. Enemy personal radar overhead. We're on Charlie. Stand by. Enemy movement. Charlie secure. We've got Alpha.
Oh,
Enemies taking Delta. We lost Delta.
I didn't. Yeah, that's Okay, so we're gonna talk about separate topics about the game later, but we're gonna kind of stick to what we have right now. Um, that's overall review, and then we're gonna kind of go to separate comparisons. But I don't know. I think, yeah, that it's just, I don't know. I don't like slow pace. I I played a lot of Rainbow Six. I still I like getting into faces. I don't like, you know, Rainbow Six didn't bother me because that game was purposely tactical. It's meant to be tactical. It's not, it's not meant to be fast. I get that. But just switching, going from, again, going from like last 5 games. Like just say the last since Black Ops 2. Fast, ghosts. Decently slow, but it didn't like it was still kind of it was decent speed. It was not super slow. AW, jumpy hell. Black Ops 3, thrust hell. IW, decently slow because I'm slow, but still you jump up to like you jump. And then you go to World War II. I didn't like that game. It was too slow. It just the setting was meant to be slow. Like yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was just questionable game. Just on how it played, and that was the problem. Just there was too much question marks around it with guns and all that. It just didn't work for me. It was slow. It sometimes went fast. Like that's the problem. And you go to Black Ops 4, it was medium slash fast, medium pace slash fast. So that then you go to Modern Warfare. It's a total base speed. They mentioned this game is going to be more tactical. It just it proves it was a costing point. I think maybe we'll see it succeed. But at this kind of moment, it's hard for people to change pace. Especially COD is one of those fast shooting games. It's known to rush. It is not tactical. It is like if you want to play tactical, play Search and Destroy. That's always tactical. But if you're playing like other game modes like Respawn, there's no way you're going slow. Like that's the thing. And then you just like you play regular TDM, domination is just slow because of the I don't know. And I don't think I like that. It was an interesting approach by them. I think it's different. They know what to expect. Like interesting what we can expect from a different style of play. But it just does not kind of work for me, and that's again maybe if I keep playing this game more and more, it's gonna be a different pace, but like it's gonna feel different, but I don't know. And also, you talking about the time to kill, yeah, that it is just horrendous. You just peek in a corner and you just don't have anywhere to fight. Like you can't back up for 2 seconds. Like that's the crazy thing. Like if you have a fast time to kill game, you should have a fast healing time. And I just Call of Duty changing that. I don't know why. It just like Black Ops 4, that was slow. That was slower time to kill. Because you had that 150 health on there, and that was made costly game. You got you have the automatic healing, but a lot of times you got away with that if you just keep running stim shot. So that was the case. And with this, you just peek, you're dead. You don't, and also just the aim, like the new settings in the game was very questionable. I don't feel like I have aim assist. Like it feels like I don't lock onto a target. Like it feels like I have to do it like manually lock. Like I just have to move my stick towards them. Like I feel like there's no aim assist in the game. I think it was called toggle assist in the last game. Like kind of like more toggle assist, where it's gonna lock. It's not gonna. Like it's just gonna put you onto the target. But this game, it just feels like it's not there. And that was, I don't know why they changed those settings. It wasn't even there day one. That was the crazy part. Like with all these curve, linear bullet aim response curve type and all that, that wasn't even there day one. That was that's crazy. And they keep adding this. It just, I don't know. It just kind of also just makes a big difference in the skill gap a little bit. Although it's shockingly, with these settings, I thought it's gonna make like a big skill gap because you have to learn these new like linear S curve, dynamic curve thing. But it hasn't really done it yet. But in the future, this kind of just see like more domination type periods. Like we've seen a lot of people get gunships and chopper gunners and White Phosphorus right now. Like that's crazy in like ground 1 ground lobby. And that's gonna be a big concern for these new gamers who are gonna keep getting the game like in the next couple months. So we don't know what we can expect on it, but I don't know. Let's kind of talk about separate topics. What do you think of the map so far? Like in regards to maps, and we're gonna give a rating to each of them. So 0 is horrible, 5 is good. So just like a 5-star Michelin rating.
Allied UAV overhead. Allied precision enemy personal radar overhead. We're taking Echo.
Karst River Core.
Allied cluster strike incoming. We're holding Echo. Allied UAV overhead. We've got Delta. Enemy Wilson. Friendly veto on station.
Ah, it's actually free. Wait, I think there's free Arklov
Allied
Peak. That's the one with like it's like in the middle of a farm. I don't know. It's like a farmland. Anaya Palace and Grazna. Grazna. Wait, there might be one more, but I don't know.
radar overhead. Enemy at Echo, go. Allied UAV overhead.
Well, actually, they separated. They actually separated. They put it so it's TDM is 20. Like you have 10v10 is like you have if you want to play 10v10, you have 10v10. You only play 10v10 laps. So they just separated it. Well, no, it is no. You have a 6v6 option, or you have a 10v10. It's two different playlists.
Enemy has Delta. Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy shield turret on the field. Enemy personal radar overhead.
My opinion, the maps, they're too big. Some of them too big, and some of the spawns are really heavily broken. And it is spawn trap heavy, even on a mode that isn't meant to spawn trap on. You play Piccadilly. Piccadilly's the one. It's like in the buses, and it's middle of downtown London, Piccadilly Square. That one, if you just whoop the whole middle of the map. They only spawn one location, and you can just spawn kill them from like the middle of buses. Like just get a long distance and wait for them to push you, and they don't spread out. And so the spawns don't spread out. They only stay in like they don't like spawn in a different, totally new area for everyone else. You just spawn there, and same thing as Hackney Yard. Like you push the whole thing. They spawn in the backside of warehouses, like with the, they spawn on the warehouse, like not in the middle of the map on warehouse. They spawn on like where the forklift is. If you can enter the back from forklift or like that little door. That's the only place you spawn like behind that. Like you only spawn like 2 buildings and you get spawn trap heavily. They don't flip it. And that is on TDM. That's the crazy part. That's on TDM where these spawns are heavily broken. And I don't know what you can expect from other game modes because oddly the spawns flip heavily on Dom every 2 seconds. Because there's constant spawn flips on flags on this, like domination. And that's kind of shocking to me. So I don't know. I think what map have you liked the most? I'll tell you mine. If you...
Securing C.
And we're not giving 2v2 maps.
Lost Echo.
Piccadilly.
Delta. Got Charlie. We've lost Delta. Enemy precision airstrike. Get down. Enemy personal radar overhead. Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy spotted. Enemy precision airstrike. Get down. Allied UAV overhead.
I think I had to go with Hackney. I think... actually, I'm gonna probably go with Piccadilly too because of the spot traps. Um, I don't know. I think just on experience, this is kind of the only map I've done really decently good on. Maybe Hackney Yard too, but maybe I actually go with Hackney Yard. But I don't know. I just something different. But I think still today, I don't know. I think just how I experience it right now, just kind of just me liking it. So, but again, it's different from everybody's opinion. So. How about guns? Like,
We're taking Echo. Talking fuel. Enemy personal radar overhead. Enemy cluster strike. We expect great things from you.
yeah, I think I gotta go down for it too. I've been trying not, like, I think just because of like how it, we can get low 69, huh? But I think just how I don't know, it just hits a miss in me. Like sometimes it feels like I don't get any damage in it. I don't know, but sometimes I get like screwed. Also, so I think I'm for it. So SMGs I haven't really used that much since I'm more of an AR player. I think right now, I think probably I just got MP7 class because I have the blueprint variant. I think it's kind of the best one at the moment. But we don't know how the meta is going to be run. I think for competitive play, I think it's going to be more AR heavy than like other years. I can't, so I think it's just gonna be more based on like the M4. I think I want to try different guns. I think the M13. Some people are recommending the Scar for the Scar. But maybe I'll lock it. But I think that's kind of where you go with it. Um, what what do you think of the new game modes? As we'll list gunfight, cyber attack, ground war, and realism. Yep, that's what I thought about it. It was.
taking Echo.
I think okay, we're gonna start from the bottom. I think Cyber Attack I haven't played too much. I'm not a search so it's I noticed it was heavily like once the game released, like once noticed that it was heavily based on search and destroy. Sorry, I'm search and rescue. Wrong game mode. And I don't know, I'm just not a search player. I don't like that one life thing. I prefer having a fighting chance. Like at least respawn a couple more times. So I know you can get your tags picked up. So that it's a good thing, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that. Just trusting one life, and you can get a bad game from that, and then you can't do anything about it. Realism I played yesterday night with some of my buddies. It actually isn't that bad game mode. It's more, it's kind of like more hardcore based. And kind of the difference of realism, if you have to know HUD, but there's a one-hit headshot. And I noticed this once I start. If you haven't really, it feels like it's probably copy like searching like hardcore. But there's a one-hit headshot which you sometimes don't get in hardcore. So that's kind of the difference, and I kind of like it because you just like you hit the head, it's actually a kill. Instead of like you hit the head 5 times, he's still alive. So that's kind of, I wish they kind of implemented that in just the regular modes, like just kind of, or like in hardcore actually, just implement that one hit headshot. Especially you want to, if this game kind of promotes more realism, you might as well actually have that instead of what we have right now, like this. But they haven't really done it yet. So gunfight, it's nice. I think it's something that you can do, you have fun with, you can take it seriously. It's 2v2, so you and your buddy can just dominate the scene from that. But in my opinion, I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of, again, that search and destroy setting. There's like 10 people on that one tall building. And last one's ground war. This is the best innovation of that. This is a great idea. And I played Battlefield, a little bit of it, and I liked the Conquest. That's the main game mode, the 32 v 32, or so it's the same system as Conquest, and I like that because it was already fun. You can do whatever you want. You can snipe. You can take vehicles. You can go take aircraft. Although this is not prevalent, like aircraft isn't that prevalent in this game mode, and like in here, but it still plays somewhat of importance, and that's really nice to kind of implement that in there. So hopefully, there has to be more ground war maps. I think they're having only 2. I thought they're gonna have release like 3 like immediately, but that didn't happen. So hopefully we do see more. But I think this is kind of the right path, and hopefully this is more implemented in the next Call of Duty games, but I'm not gonna really expect it that much. But I think there's a high chance it could. Next thing we're gonna talk about is let's try score streaks. Kind of relates to it. What do you think about the score streaks so far? Which one do you think is kind of the best? And what is your setup? What is the best setup would you consider at the moment for your score streaks? and kind of end this topic. We're gonna end this smart warfare topic on. What do you think they need to fix? Like, as individually, just like on like we're not talking like specific things, not like, or just like you can talk about the whole thing if you want to, like if it's a big topic, but like specifically what you need to fix.
Support helo in the air. Enemy chopper gunner inbound. Losing target. Taking Delta. Enemy has Echo. Securing Alpha. Enemy has Charlie. Weapons free in 5 seconds. We're holding Delta. Friendly VTOL jet on station for over. Enemy UAV online. Got Alpha. Friendly UAV on station. Oh, shit! We're on target. Stand by. Echo 3-1, Viper 1-1 on approach, ready for taxi. What's your position? Enemies taking Delta. Securing C. Lost Delta. Charlie secure. Friendly IAV dropping in.
They did. So you're talking about like where the Xbox freezes? Like if you freezes, you actually disconnects you from. That's annoying. It happened like 6 times yesterday, like during the night. Played from like 6 to 12, and it happened 6 times, and I was like, what the fuck? And just after like the second or third time, I just expected it. I was like, oh shit, okay, I might as well get ready to restart the console. So they did fix it, so that was a good thing. But that was heavily annoying. Like I didn't really understand that. Like the issue there.
Hostiles in the area. Enemies in the area.
Allied cluster strike inbound. Enemy capturing A. Enemy UAV online. Be advised, enemy personal radar active.
I'm gonna go with a couple things. I think first thing is just the I don't know. Yeah, the camping is annoying. The minimap. I think just having the red dots. It was nice to like they were questioning they don't have a minimap in the game. Like that was the thing. And then they changed it to where they did have a minimap.
Friendly VTOL
And then now, so that's, they did it during the middle of the beta. They implemented that, people are happy. But again, I didn't like, you see it from the compass. And I still don't look at the compass. So I think just having it turn into the normal. I don't get the change for that.
friendly UAV.
Like playing with, like, basically half blind because no one's gonna look at the top of the screen. Everybody's gonna look at the top, like, your eye is gonna focus more heavily on the left than just looking up. So, like, looking up at those dots to where they're shooting. So, it was nice to implement, like, they need to just keep the original. I think there has to be a couple switch up with perks. I noticed in the perk 2 category, there's 3 perks that relate to score kill streaks. Hardline, you know how that works. Kill chain, kill streak kills, like, kill streak kills counts towards your progression and streaks. Not that useful. And then you have point man, which you get like a 48. kill streaks turn into score streaks. At that point, that is a waste. I didn't get the concept of that. But they implemented that. So I think a couple perks are just like some of them just don't work. So I don't get it as I do my execution. So hopefully that gets fixed, but I don't think we're gonna see it. Like if they, like especially dead silence, people have complained about that. And dead silence, I don't know. It's something that's been questioned. But I don't know if like when I have dead silence on, it just like feels like it's actually silent unless people don't hear. But when people like other people test it, it just feels like it's actually not quiet. It's like loud. So I don't like that's what people have been complaining about. So hopefully that gets fixed. In the next couple like days, again, switch it up with the perk category, switch over the perk 2 category. That will work a lot better. But you know, that's been a big complaint by people, and hopefully it's fixed. And last thing is just kind of the spawns. I think TDM should not be a spawn trap game mode. And that's kind of shocking when you hear about it. When you have a game mode like TDM that should not be spawn trap heavy, have that issue. And hopefully that gets fixed. Hopefully the spawns get fixed on like every game mode. And also last thing, I was gonna say. I don't know. I think that's all I gotta say there. I had something else in my mind, but so that's gonna be kind of again end of the stream here as we finish up this game. Thank you, Mr. XO, VC. I don't know. I'm gonna call him Mr. XO. Thanks for joining the stream. Do you want to give for talking about social media aspects and big sponsorships for gamers? Hopefully you keep growing on Twitch and Instagram overall, which I think you should be, especially how you talked. Feels like you're a really good people talker. So do you want to give any shout outs to anyone before we end it off? If they view it. And yeah, hopefully that's the case. So thank you for joining the show. That's going to be on the stream. We don't know what the topic is going to be next week. I'm trying to see how stuff is going to go down next weekend, but we should have a show next weekend, but I don't have a confirmed topic. And that's going to be it. Bye.